And now, Giants Sports Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Eric and Glenn.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Giants Sports Talk Live, where the Giants walk it off. Man, they weren't hitting at all during the game.
They walked it off. I ran it back. I messaged Eric. I said, I'm reveling in the win. I'll be back in the studio in about 5 minutes. Eric goes, well, you got 3 minutes and I'm going on. So I'm back. Give me a minute, Eric. I got the cold water. You can tell them what happened, but it was amazing over there tonight. Woo!
Yeah, I tell you, man, the Giants didn't do nothing. As a matter of fact, they were being no-hit through, what was it, 7 innings? 6 innings, I think they got no-hit through. So the bats were not showing up until late in the game. And what's fascinating is a lot of the runs in this previous road trip was off the home run. Not one home run, but they were able to get some key hits when it mattered. There was some situational hitting, which the Giants have been lacking for a very long time. It was nice to see it in this game. Robbie Ray was okay. Walked 3 guys, but he got 7 strikeouts, was able to go 6 innings, only allowed 2 runs. So he kept the Giants in the game. The only thing is, the Giants just weren't hitting for the first 6 innings or so. A lot of errors by Curt Kasliner. Ooh. Wow. Yeah, he had an ugly game today. Very ugly game today, but
he he threw out a key runner, Eric. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he did that. And, the Giants were able to get that win. Again, key hits, sacrifice flies is what got the job done tonight. So, hey, you take a win where you can. These are the type of teams that you need to beat. So it was good that they came out here and won that first game of the series. Let's see if they can come back tomorrow afternoon and be able to do the same and win this series. But that was something. Something. A little bit later, we're going to have a special guest coming on. It's not going to be Tommy D from New York. It's going to be a Giants fan. So we'll bring him on here shortly when he shows up, and probably after the recap or so. All right, guys. Let's get into it.
And now, today's Giants in Review on Giants Sports Talk Live.
There you go. As you see, Giants won 3-2 against the Detroit Tigers with that walk-off sacrifice fly by Mark Canha. We're going to have to talk about him.
Your old buddy.
Yeah, how about that?
And look who scored the winning. Look who scored the winning run, Eric.
Yeah, he did with the sacrifice fly. Yeah, he did. Mark Canha.
Wow.
Yeah, it was something.
Eric, it was the atmosphere. Oh my gosh, the atmosphere in the state. It's the best atmosphere I've seen all season. It was really drizzly, really damp in there today with that fog moving in late this afternoon. Always the case, but a little colder than usual. But I'm soaked. I had to get back here to tell you all about it, Eric. What a night at the park. The fans were going crazy in there. Oh, man, it's so exciting. And you know what? After the move today, we'll get into it. But, the bullpen move they made today. And
yeah, we'll get into that. There seems
to be urgency. There seems to be like, all right, this team's in it to win it. So I'll tell you what, it was a great night. You say Conforto scores the winner. Your guy, Canha, he gives...
No, Canha got the win. He got the winning hit.
Yeah, Canha had the winning hit, but Conforto scored the winning run.
Oh, yeah.
And an interesting footnote to this game before we look at all the stats, Eric. All 3 Giants runs in this game
were sacrifices. Yeah,
exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
It is really.
That's pretty amazing. Especially because the Giants, they haven't been able to get that key hit with runners in scoring position. And look at this. They get 3 runs in with sacrifice flies. Pretty incredible. Yeah. Look, the offensive numbers on here isn't going to be spectacular for the simple fact they only had 4 hits on the night. That's it. 4 hits. Fitzgerald had 1. Ramos had 1. Those are the guys who started mounting something there, right? Matter of fact, it was Fitzgerald who scored the first run. He was able to get that hit right behind him. Ramos got a hit in the right field. Fitzgerald was able to go from first to third. And then that's when you had the first sacrifice fly. Let's see. Canha also had a hit, but he also had the game-winning RBI at the end of the game. Wisely had a hit as well, and guess what? That was it. That was it, guys. As far as offense, it's crazy. Able to score 3 runs on 4 hits, and not one of those runs came off any of those hits. So it was a little bit of a weird game. Hey, it's baseball. Haven't I said that a whole bunch of times? That's the beauty of the game, because so many weird things can unfold throughout the course of a game, even the course of a season. It's pretty amazing how the Giants were able to win this first game against the Detroit Tigers. Robbie Ray, again, went 6 innings. You'll like to see that. What did he pitch? Hold on. You think he pitched? Yeah, he got up to 105 pitches. That's good to see. That's good to see from Robbie Ray. Again, those 3 walks, that was kind of tough, but he had 7 strikeouts.
You know what I liked about it, Eric?
What'd you like?
So this is what I believe his 3rd game back.
Fourth
game back. Okay, he had the road game. Yeah, you're right. So I'm still a little flustered. I got to catch my breath here, Eric, and please bear with me. It was a long run back from the ballpark for this. Let me tell you. Geez. What was I going to say? Okay, so thing they did with Ray, he had an extended period of games where he pitched in A ball and AA ball. And he pitched I don't know how many starts he had at AAA, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
they really brought him along slowly. So he is effective now. They're not just throwing him in with a couple of minor league starts under his belt. He really built up the arm, built up ready to jump in and be a dominant pitcher at this stretch of the season, Eric. I got to give the Giants credit for that, holding him back a little while longer and getting them the minor league starts and the rehab starts he needed.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. They did well with bringing Ray. I don't know if they did so well with Snell. I don't know what the deal was in the beginning.
Kind of rushed, though, wasn't it? Kind of rushed.
Yeah, a little bit. But then again, you're paying that guy $30 million. So yeah. That's the deal. Roop looked really good today. He came out for 2 innings. He looked sharp. I like what I saw from Roop today with him coming back into the bullpen. We're going to get into that a little bit later on why Roop is back in the bullpen. And then, of course,
Eric, you broke the news to me, and I was already over at Oracle Park. It was kind of the best kept secret over there until I messaged Eric. I said, I just saw Roop. What's going on? You're like, oh, you didn't hear the news. And I just broken, did it not? And you went live. Good job, Eric. I was over there. A couple of people were watching the video. I had the video on over at Oracle Park. And there were a few people worked around the stadium were watching your video. Good job going live this afternoon.
Appreciate it. You got to go live. That's some big news for Giants. You know, you got your closer being option. He just didn't lose the closer role. He got optioned. You know, that's speaking volumes on what's going on there. And then lastly, you got Tyler Rogers, who did well in his inning of work. The bullpen was not destroyed today, which was nice because in that road trip, especially in that Washington series, they really had to lean on that bullpen. All right. Hey, without further ado, I told you we're going to have a guest. Everybody, please welcome Kasey Kazliner. Here we go, guys.
And now, another special guest appearance on Giant Sports Talk Live.
All right, there he is. How's it going, Kasey, man?
Doing well. I mean, especially after tonight. It was much needed, and I caught a little bit of what you guys were saying, and I mean, electric end of that game. I think the Giants, maybe you guys brought this up. Are they tied now for the most walk-offs in the bigs?
Ooh, you know what? That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I believe I'll check, Eric. Sure. I believe that's their 10th walk-off of the year.
Yeah, I think the Marlins of all teams had 9.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they were tied with the Marlins. So,
oh, wow. Well, there you go. Hey, just to give a little history on Kasey here, you're a student at USC, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
What year are you in?
I'm going to be an entering sophomore, so I just finished my freshman year.
Hey, all right, good. What are you studying?
Communications and sports media. So
hey, there you go. So we got a Trojan in the house here. Are you originally from the Bay Area?
Yeah, I'm right in studio from the Bay Area right now. I live full time and up in the Bay.
Yeah. There you go.
I knew something was up, Eric. I go, he's bringing the orange, bringing it on a Friday night on our show, Giants Talk from Southern Cal, but he's right here in our own backyard. So yeah, did you catch any of the game on the tube? Were you listening on KNBR? What was your feelings on the game? And tell us more. Tell us more.
Yeah, for sure. I watched pretty much the whole game with the exception of a few innings, and I don't want to be redundant to what you guys already talked about, but yeah, I loved what Robbie Ray was able to do tonight. And I know he gave up a couple of those runs, but I mean, look, his command was really there. And I know he struggled with that on past teams, and especially like coming off a big injury like that. I think that was the big question mark for me. It's like, how deep can he go into games? How is his command going to, infiltrate in big matchups like this? And I think really 7 Ks, he really got out of, a couple of jams. And look, I mean, yeah, he gives up those runs, but sack fly and then a couple of defensive errors by Kasey. So I was really high on him. And I really, you guys, I caught a little bit what you said about Landon Roop. And I really do like that call up. And he's been, I feel like I tweeted this out today, but I feel like his 6 ERA entering the game is a little bit misleading because he's had a lot of strong games. It's just the games he's not been good in, he's been really bad in.
Yeah.
Like the Blue Jay game. Game wasn't very good.
The Dodger game, he pitched in. And so I think tonight he really showed why he does deserve a spot on this roster. And he's relatively young. I think he's 26. So I do really like what he was able to do tonight. And like you guys talked about, like the bullpen wasn't fully destroyed. And I think once we kind of move into these closer games where we're going to be able to see, kind of the closer by committee kind of come into full effect, I'm going to be really interested to see kind of like what Bob Melvin decides to do. Because I think like the elephant in the room is like Ryan Walker is light years better than Camilo Doval. But I think there's other guys on this roster, like a Randy Rodriguez, like one of the Rogers brothers that could step into that, say Ryan Walker has a night off or something. So I really did like the game. I mean, it's tough when you don't get a hit until, what was it, the 6th or 7th inning. But I mean, nonetheless, a win's a win. And I mean, the NL is so hot right now, and the Giants need to get hot. And I mean, these games matter so much. I know it's interleague, but I mean, we're scoreboard watching, right? I mean, Atlanta is slumping heavy.
Big time.
They've lost 6 straight, right? And so, yeah, we'll see. But otherwise, a strong outing from the Giants pitching. And the hitting, I mean, yes, pretty lackluster, but they had that clutch ability, and that's why they have 10 walk-offs this year. And Mark Canha, I want to emphasize him too, because I think adding Mark Canha to this lineup has really done something. That's, it's that deadline magic that we kind of saw. I don't want to know if I want to compare it to the 2021 Braves, but like there's elements of that I see with Mark Canha being added. I mean, he had that 4-hit game the other day.
He did.
And then tonight, I mean, the walk-off sack fly and a big hit earlier on as well. So a lot of good stuff tonight, some negatives, but I mean, like I said, a win's a win. So.
Absolutely. And real quick to kind of go back to what you're talking about, I saw the same report of what Michael was saying. Supposedly, Melvin said Hicks is going to be the guy to close, and it's not going to be closer by committee, supposedly.
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing that, if Hicks can't go, Ryan Walker's perfectly suitable to take that 9th inning. So we'll see what happens going forward. His velocity is back. Since he's moved to the pen, his velocity is back for the simple reason he doesn't have to go out every 5th day and have to throw 90 pitches. So he can let it loose a little bit more because you're going out there for 1 inning and that's it. Mark Canha, wow, I may have to eat some crow on this because
I think so, Eric.
I wasn't happy with the Mark Canha because I was like, man, this guy's okay. He's a guy, but since he's been with the Giants, he's doing something. So I can't knock it. Right now. He's doing something throughout the rest of the season. Again, he was just a guy. Is it going to last? We don't know. We'll see. But hey, he's contributing, and I'm not gonna fault that. I'm not gonna fault that whatsoever. So where do I want to go with this next? Oh, real quick. What are you talking about, Debbie? I'm not downing right now.
You're a Debbie Downer on
Glenn. Okay. You cover.
Hey, maybe I'm sure Kasey doesn't know what you were up to the other day. You weren't on his bandwagon at all when I was on Gerard and Canarcion's bandwagon. But oh well, a big game tonight again. For USC, you cover hockey, don't you?
I do.
The Anaheim Ducks and the Los Angeles Kings. Are you a big hockey fan? Are you a San Jose Sharks fan?
I'm a diehard Sharks fan, so it's kind of weird covering the LA teams. Like I went to the draft and everything as a fan. I love the Sharks, but I'm a big hockey guy. Yes.
This guy is a hockey guy. This guy is the hockey guy right here.
Yep. Yeah, I kind of go back in the game, don't I, Eric?
Yep. You played the AHL, right?
And I had 18 years of play-by-play I did before packing that in to join the Giant Sports Talk Live crew.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
You know, it's got to be, listen, for Kasey to be immersed in Los Angeles sports the way he would be, but to be a Sharks and a Giants and basically a Bay Area sports fan takes a lot for you, young fella.
It's hard. You get a lot of chirping.
You must get a lot of take a lot of abuse down there, do you?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, it's weird. It's but you have to be proud. You know, you have to stick with your team, and I think some people are tempted. Some people are tempted to jump the ship, but I mean, USC Trojans is the only LA team I'll ever root for. So I'll leave it at that.
There you go.
So what's the big talk down there? You've got so many choices for the entertainment dollar. You got the Kings, you've got all the teams Eric mentioned, and you've got college football, which is going to be heating up in the probably next 3 weeks or so. How does it rate, maybe from first to worst, as far as the excitement level for Southern California sports?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, it's hard to say, but I think the Dodgers are always going to be at the top, and the Lakers. I think they're like their own echelon, so to speak. I think after that, it's a little bit subjective because I feel like hockey is not super big, even though it should be. I love it, but I think it's not super talked about. I think college football is like the second tier for me, just because NFL is still somewhat new back in the region, with the Rams and Chargers still being kind of fresh back in SoCal. So I think it's really LA baseball, with the exception of the Angels, even though they're not really LA. But I think the Dodgers and Lakers rule that town, with college football being kind of its own thing as well. And after that, I feel like people are fans, but not to the diehard sellout level.
All right, hey, let's rotate back a little bit to Giants with the big news. We haven't got a chance to really talk about it yet. It was announced earlier this afternoon. Camilo Doval not only lost the closer position, they sent him to Sacramento. They gave him a bus ticket down to 80.
See you, Reggie.
Sacramento. What is your take there, Kasey? What do you think? You think it's more than just him working on something? Because that's what it's. If you're getting an option, something isn't right, and I don't know what exactly it may be. We can speculate. What you think? Yeah,
I mean, you mentioned it. I don't want to speculate too heavy, but right. I circle back to the Angels game when he gave up 5 runs and slams the cooler down in the dugout. Mm-hmm. And absolutely loses his temper. And that was really unlike him, right? I mean, he's always been known as Tranquilo Camilo. He's a chill guy. Right. And let's not forget, the expectations for him were sky high. I mean, he has this whole new intro thing at night games. He's coming off an all-star season. And now, it's completely flipped. He's public enemy number 1, it feels like. So I think it's probably again, I don't want to speculate too heavy, but maybe it's a clubhouse thing, because I think you could easily slot him in as kind of a short relief guy in the 7th or 8th inning in close games, maybe a 1 or 2 run game, and he'd probably be fine. The pressure seems to be getting to him in the 9th inning when he's walking guys, and then that's leading to bigger hits, as we saw in the Washington game the other day.
Correct.
So I think for him to be not only losing, like you said, losing the closer role, but be sent down to the minors, I think it's either a thing where the River Cats desperately need a closer, or it's a clubhouse issue where Doval is, not feeling respected, or is feeling too much pressure and isn't getting along with Melvin and crew. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. You know what I was thinking too, because I don't know if you heard the press conference. They asked a question to Bob Melvin, what's the deal? And he says it's things that he has to work on. It's better for him to work on the things he has to work on in AAA. Now, what I took out of that, and look, I'm only going by what the words that he said. I'm not going to try to read into it or anything like that. We could make our own speculation, what's going on. I think it's something bigger if you're going to go to AAA. But I think what it is the Giants are in win now mode. And I don't think they have the time to see, okay, Doval, let's see if he can figure out in the 6th or 7th or 8th inning. Because guess what? He may still look, you could lose the game in the 6th, 7th, and 8th just as much as you could lose it in the 9th. And I don't think they cannot They cannot risk losing games late in the game. So maybe that's what, because you send them to Sacramento. Guess what? Nothing's at stake. There's nothing at stake. You can work on what you got to work on. Maybe he comes back. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But I think it's right now. It's as Mike says, it's win now mode. 100%. I think it for the Giants, it's win now mode. And that's why you're not seeing Luciano in the DH position, because Mark Canha and Encarnacion are playing better baseball right now.
You know, Kasey, I said to Eric just the other day, didn't I? A couple of times on the show, Eric, I don't know if Kasey catches our show at all. I had said to you, and it really resonated with some of our chat members. I said, this Giants management are so quick, I said to Eric, to move a guy who was 0 for 4, but was the top player for the month, down to 8th in the batting order because he has one bad game. Yet, when our bullpen continues to have a bad game after a bad game, I said, how long are they going to leave that aspect of the game untouched? Something's got to happen.
Yeah,
gotta happen. Just the way they look at their batting roster. Eric and I can't tell the batting lineup from day to day. I think some days that they just pick it out of a hat. I said to Eric yesterday when I see a guy batting leadoff for 4 or 5 games and he's red hot, had an 0 for 4, and he's batting 8th in the lineup. But yet the struggles in the bullpen over and over, I said, they cannot let this continue.
Go for it, Kasey.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that the thing with the Giants, like whether you brought it up, like the management or on the field, is just it's inconsistency, right? I mean, you know, we've seen that with Doval. Like there's some nights where like Doval is lights out. And that's why I think it is weird to impulsively send him down to AAA. And I think that kind of circles back to like there's got to be something we don't know. Because you know, it's like you said, the inconsistency is just it's deafening. It's very weird. It doesn't make any sense. And I agree. Like seeing, you know, were you referring to Brett Wisely or who were you referring to that went 0 for 4?
Oh, that wasn't that was Fitzgerald the other day, Eric. Remember he had an 0 for at the top of the lineup and they bounced him down
to the 6th. Again, that was because they had a right-handed pitcher, so they bought Wade.
Oh, that's
the lead off.
Kasey, that's another load of crap that we have to put up with lefty, righty matchups and who plays, who doesn't. That is a perpetual issue that I have with this management.
And the first base position too, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean,
it's first base, second base, and the corner outfielder spots. Yeah, those are all platooned.
And especially with the injuries to Tyro Estrada and Wilmer Flores, it's just. You know, even though those two have been widely inconsistent, I think it's like you said, it's been super. And then also like the defense in the outfield, I feel like has reached a liability in certain games when, you know, they're just moving stuff around. Like, you know, say what you want to say about Matos, but I really did love his defense in center field, you know, before he kind of was slumping at the dish. And I feel like Elliott, you know, we love him for his hitting, but I feel like Elliott has been it's been tough sometimes to see him play center field and give up.
He has had his moments in center field.
Gosh.
There's no doubt.
Looks
now,
like
Anonymous
out there some nights.
Yeah, brings up a great point. How do we know that? They're talking about Luciano. Has Luciano ever gotten a real chance? No, he has not. I admit that he has not gotten a real chance. But I think the problem is we're at the time and the schedule here. We're getting close to mid-August.
Yeah.
The Giants are in a hunt for the wild card.
And you saw what levels that they will take now to be effective on the field.
And here's another thing. Look, and this is speculation, but remember when Luciano was having those issues in the field?
Yeah.
Melvin was quick to yank him and not play him anymore. It's very similar. It's very similar to what has happened with Doval, except they were a little bit more drastic with, are they more drastic with Doval? Because they sent Luciano back down to AAA. Now they're sending Doval down to AAA. Is it a form of punishment, so to speak? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But it's very similar if you think about it. Remember how they treated Luciano in the middle of the season where they should have just been playing him anyways because you got to see what they got. Again, Ramos, you didn't know what we had until he actually got a run, and he's proven to be an all-star. Mm-hmm. Now, does that mean that Luciano is going to be an all-star? We don't know. But one thing is for certain, he needs to find a position to play. But
well, it's got the inconsistency. They did give him a long leash, Eric. That's what I meant about the Doval. They've given him a leash.
Well, the problem is they've given him, but he hasn't given up those runs. He's skating out of it. Now that he's given up runs, that's when they pull the trigger.
But then that becomes lucky baseball. You cannot keep going and doing that time over and time over again and it not bite you in the ass, Eric.
Agreed. It was only a matter of time. And I think that's what they were waiting for. They were waiting for that. It's okay, you're still getting out of it. You're walking guys, but you're able to get out of your jams. Because remember, the night before, he looked awful, but he got the Indy double play. So he was able to get out of it. Didn't give up any runs. Yesterday, he gave up 3 runs. So now that was the time to sit there and say, you know what? Nope. Like I said, it's pretty drastic. But it's interesting. It's very similar how Luciano was treated and how Camilo Doval was treated.
Yeah, and I think
unaffected runs too, Eric. You and I were watching the game. It was an early morning start yesterday. And when you give up the 3 runs in the 9th, then all of a sudden that game we won, but that game was tied. Very effective runs for the opposition. Didn't just give up 3. That was in prime position to give away the game.
Yes, correct.
Oh, frustrating, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I think an interesting thing with Luciano and Melvin in particular is you guys might remember a few years ago, Melvin's managing in Oakland. They have Marcus Semien, and he was one of the worst defensive shortstops in the entire MLB. Just awful. But he did have a lot of potential at the plate. But it really took a lot of time. But he was never sent down. I'm trying to say Marcus Semien was continuously developed by Melvin. But I think the difference between now with Luciano and then with Semien is the Giants have some depth in the middle infield as opposed to, other situations. So I feel like they're sort of, like you said, in that win now mode to the extent where they're like, oh, we can kind of put these younger guys on the back burner and slot in, Tyler Fitzgerald, who's streaky and kind of have a short-term memory with those, guys who are struggling on defense. So I think Bob Melvin takes a lot of pride in his defense. Whether it's not super obvious right now with the outfield situation or not. So I think that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kasey. Hiroku talks about who's calling Doval's pitches. It's interesting. I don't know if you guys watched the games. I think Melvin caused a lot of those pitches. You'll see Bailey looking over to the dugout and Melvin's giving his signal. He's doing this stuff. So I think Melvin's calling some of these pitches now. Whether or not he's calling Doval's, I don't know. That I can't answer. I really haven't got a peek on what Bailey does during when Doval is up, but maybe that is something. I don't know. One thing is definitely his velocity is down. He was always hitting 100, 102. Now, lately he's been closer to 97, 98. I don't know if maybe that's to have more control. I don't know, but it doesn't seem to work because he's still not commanding his pitches. So there's something there definitely. But yeah. Interesting indeed. But do you see the kind of comparisons between Luciano and how Doval has been treated?
A little bit. I mean, I think the tough thing is you have one closer, whereas with like I said, with the middle infield, you have Wisely, who's had tons of good spurts this year. You can play him at short if you want. You have Tyler Fitzgerald, who's been one of the best hitters in the entire league, so it's like I feel like they see Luciano as a little bit more replaceable, and he's younger. So I don't know. I mean, I think too, like when you have a closer who has such a good reputation, you're going to give him a little more leeway, and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's just like they've given him that leeway, so why break now and do the end all be all and option him? I don't see that. Like, why didn't they just trade him at that point? Because, it's not like he didn't have bad outings in the first half. He certainly did. It's just now I feel like that one game, which they still happened to win, was the breaking point. So I don't know. I interested to hear your guys' thoughts as well.
I can't remember who said it in the chat yesterday. You guys, please remind me. Someone said in the chat yesterday, Doval hasn't been the same since Soto had his lunch in that San Francisco series. He hasn't been the same after, Soto took care of him. Maybe it's a mental thing. It's possible. It's a mental thing. But do you think Doval should have been traded at the deadline? Granted, here, I think he should have been. But what I wonder is where was his value at that time? Because he wasn't trending in the right direction. But then again, the guy has electric stuff when he's on. I'm thinking a team would have taken him. There is no doubt a team would have taken him.
I mean, Carlos Estevez was traded to the Phillies.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like,
point.
right? Like when he's on, he's super good. He has over 20 saves, I want to say. But when he does have struggles, it's no secret. But I think Doval has even more value, arguably, just because of his raw velocity.
Correct.
And whatnot. So I forget what the return was for Estevez between Philly and the Angels, but I want to say you could get maybe a similar package.
How about what the Padres paid to get what was it? Was it Tanner Scott? Yeah, from Miami.
Miami, yeah.
They gave up quite a bit to get that guy. So I think the Giants could have gotten some good pieces in return. But I mean,
do you think he waited too late too? You know what happens with Farhan, Eric? When Eric and I did a very lengthy, drawn-out day, we did our trade deadline show. And every time Eric would say, oh, my God, somebody picked up a closer. And it was almost like, all right, putting a check mark. Okay, well, that's not going to happen for the Giants. And then somebody would sign a power hitter. And we didn't know who was good. Oh, well, Conforto. Remember the Mets? Remember the Mets signed Eric? And then we went, oh, Conforto isn't going to be going to the Mets, as the rumors had. So oftentimes I feel that
there was
the last man to the table. The last man to the table always seems to be Farhan.
I don't know what the heck he's doing, man. I mean, you could give today, maybe not the day to talk about Farhan. I'm sure we'll have plenty of opportunities to talk about Mr. Farhan Zaidi. I don't know where you stand on him. We could talk about it a little at another time, but
did it fall apart in 1 week, Eric? Like
we are not.
He should have known what was going on a week ago.
Yes, correct.
In a week.
And Anonymous, I was having a good conversation. That's one thing Anonymous had indicated. You know, that this couldn't have been, if there was an issue between Melvin and Doval, this could not have just come up over the last couple of days. This had to be simmering for a little while. So if that's the case, as a GM, maybe you should go, you know what? Maybe we should try to trade this guy because it may not work out. You know what I'm saying? Reading the room. Something that Farhan seems to have some difficulty. Don't get me wrong. Is he an intelligent guy? Sure. Can he work the hell out of a keyboard? 100%. But does he have that interpersonal relationships in baseball? I don't know. I don't know. No one's reported on that. I'm just going by what I see and what has unfolded with the club under the reign of Farhan Zaidi. So I don't know. I don't know, man. It seems like this could have been avoided. I think there's some embarrassment involved with Doval, right? Because now I'm sure he's probably feeling that he's been slighted. There's no doubt about it.
100%.
So you probably lost him mentally, probably for the rest of the year by doing that. Maybe that was the point.
Really, how often do you see this, Eric? Really, over the years, you got your closer for the entire season. He's been your closer for the last 3 or 4 years, and then we're going to the minors today, and we're in what we would call our stretch drive now.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw this kind of a move? It really is drastic.
What about like Alek Manoah on Toronto? Kind of had a similar and that ended up being a really severe career shift for him, right? Because he never came back from that.
Came back from that.
Mentally. Yep. And I mean, he is a starting pitcher, right? So I guess it is different and a much harder job relative to 1 inning, for being real. But I think. But the problem with losing the mentality as a closer is being a closer is all mental, right? I mean,
it's all mental, 100%.
So much more, I think, than being a starting pitcher because you're dealing with situations where the game, you're essentially the goalie. The game, you have the game to lose. So I think losing him mentally is huge, especially given that he's not that old and he's still growing as a player. And so I think losing him mentally is super drastic right now, especially at this point in the year.
Yeah. And then other teams look at is like damaged goods. You mentioned Manoah. All of a sudden, his value was nil around Major League Baseball. Nobody wanted anything to do with him.
Yeah, and I mean, he never came back from that. So, I mean, hopefully it doesn't happen with Camilo. But like you said, the embarrassment factor is probably through the roof.
Oh yeah.
Check this out. We got a new guy called the Universe Galaxy NBA. I found out about this page from another page called Michael Jordan Fans Are the Worst Sports Fans Ever. Hey, how about that?
There you go.
Hey, welcome to the chat. We appreciate it. Hopefully are you a baseball fan? Are you a Giants fan? Or if you just like to be entertained, we're entertaining, right, Glenn? I think we have some fun on here. But welcome. We appreciate it.
We have our moments, don't we?
We do.
The Giants are giving us lots to talk about, and I want to thank everybody who came into the chat tonight. We've got 68 in the viewing room. That's just on our Facebook page tonight. So I want to thank everybody for coming in, and we got so many people here on YouTube. We got our special guest Kasey, who is all about Southern California sports, but he's like, where are you actually located? I'm a block from the stadium, so as you probably, I'm a little worn out getting back after the game. I had to run back. Where are you at in the Bay Area?
I live in the East Bay, like Oakland area. So
okay.
Yeah, it's probably about a 20-minute drive from Oracle. So don't have the luxury you have of being so close.
Oh, it's great. And you know what's kind of cool, Eric? A guy over in the East Bay cheering for the Giants. I see he's wearing his Wilmer Flores jersey today. Is that your Wilmer jersey?
No, it's actually blank, but
we'll call it the Wilmer and just be done with it then. All right.
Come on, man. This guy is the biggest Wilmer Flores fan ever. I think you probably got the largest collection of Wilmer Flores merchandise. Baseball
you
cards,
name
you name it.
I've got his pants and his jerseys. I got his pants from different teams. I've got his cleats. I got everything. Just about every card he has ever been on. His 1 of 1s, his patches, 1 of 5s. I got it all. Loved Wilmer, and maybe the career may be a little fleeting right now. And you know what? Kasey is a great guy to chat with on the show. You want to bring him in? I'd like to bring him in because these are two great young ball minds. We got
another college kid. There we go. We got Carter. He's
Kasey Carter Kasey. There you go.
Yeah, he's going to UCSC. You're going to USC. So hey, there you go. We got a college connection here.
Good to meet you, Kasey.
Yeah, you too, man.
Yeah.
So Carter, you're just jumping in. It's been a busy day. The big walk-off win. I was there. Eric was manning the ship here. Got us on the air. Kasey was so gracious to join us. We're talking ball for the last, what are we on now? Geez, we've been on almost an hour already, Eric.
Wow. No.
And Carter, were you surprised at what went down today?
Absolutely not. I'm not surprised. It's Giants baseball. As you said, it's very predictable. I was in the car while I was watching the game. I'm in a different location right now, but we were driving and I've been watching the game. I was watching the game the whole time. And I was like, I'm not surprised we won the game on like 3 sack flies, it's just the most.
To be honest with you, that shocks me because the Giants can't hit sack flies, man. They can't hit in the clutch. That's what shocked me is they've been hitting all these home runs and they just can't get that key hit. Today they got 3 key hits. All 3 of those runs came off 0 hits.
Right.
That's just weird.
It's so surprising because I've never really seen a team in my life that I feel that is so anti-clutch. I don't know what it is. We can clutch up, I think, because I've seen us do it before. I mean, we have 10 walk-off wins on the year. I mean,
that's impressive. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
that is
I don't even know how that's possible, but we live and we survive. That's Giants baseball.
It's all from that 1 week where they just had that late inning magic. I remember, and then it all went away. And then maybe it's back. I don't know. I mean, don't want to knock on wood, maybe, but
there you go.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, let's see what we got here real quick. I'm going to see what they got in the chat real quick, just to see if anyone's saying anything. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Hiroku says Giants still need to win 1 more game to have the best record. 3 games. Oh, yeah, that would be the best. That's the best record they would have. Now, what does that mean anything? Right now, it means something just for the simple fact that, you're trying to chase that 3rd wild card. Speaking of which, you know what? Hey, you guys want to stick around for the out-of-town scoreboard?
Sure, yeah. That'd be
great.
Good?
All right, here we go. Let's hit this, Glenn. All right, let me go find it real quick.
Oh, let's hit it now, Eric.
Yeah, let's hit it
now. A Giant Sports Talk Live scoreboard update.
All right, here we go, guys. Me and Glenn will take it away for now. It's Guardians lose to the Twins 2-4. Look at that. That's going to be a key matchup. But, that's kind of the battle for the AL Central, if I'm not mistaken. They got Carlos Santana. Man, he's still playing baseball. Goes deep for the Guardians, but it looks like it was not enough as the Twins were able to take game number 1.
It's nice to see the Giants winning, Eric, and this is the time that the cream rises to the top. With
cream rises.
You like that? I bring some of these from time to time.
That.
All right, the cream will rise to the top, and the Giants right now are showing that they're being competitive, and they just come off the 3-win out of 4-game session with Washington. What did Washington do? They lose again. Alex Call, though, went 3 for 5 and delivered a walk-off RBI single in the 10th inning, propelling the Nationals to the 3-2 victory. So they bounced back, but thank God it's after we left town, Eric.
Ain't that the truth? Look at that. Orioles beat the Rays. Not a surprise. Cedric Mullins hits a home run. Royals win 4-1. They had 11 hits compared to the Tampa Bay's 5.
One of the hottest players in baseball, Eric. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. went 2 for 4. One of the other players who contributed, Spencer Horowitz, went 3 for 4. And a guy that, I said to my wife, the guy I wanted, nobody even knew who he was. Ernie Clement. He went 3 for 4. He's playing
a giant killer.
Ball. He had a couple of home runs in one game. I think it was the Robbie Ray game we spoke of earlier. So the Giants bats came alive, only scored 3 runs, but they beat the A's over the Rogers Center in Canada. 3-1 was the final score. And the winning pitcher in that game was Jose Barrios. He allowed just 1 run across 7 innings.
And then we go to Boston. Astros beat up on the Red Sox 8-4 at Fenway. So, yeah, that's interesting. 16 hits, man. Astros are turning it on right now. That's going to be a battle there in the AL West between Seattle and Houston. I think Texas Rangers are kind of around there. We'll check the standings here in a little bit to see how close they are, but definitely the Astros and the Mariners are playing for that AL West.
One of the teams, Eric, that we are watching, scoreboard watching here in the stretch drive is San Diego. We're trying to catch San Diego, but the teams we're trying to catch, even though we win, they win tonight. Manny Machado, a 2-run double in the 10th inning, helped the Padres pass the Marlins 6-2. A big 10th inning, and San Diego win again.
Yes, they did. And look at that. The showdown in Chicago. You got the Cubs versus the White Sox at the White Sox. We'll just say that. I can't say at Chicago because they're both in Chicago. Cubs pull out the win 7-6. Boy, that was look at that. 16 hits and 20 hits for both the Cubs and the White Sox. That's pretty impressive. Looks like Mika Horner had a home run in that game. So, yeah, look at that. Cubs, again, that's a team that is chasing the Giants. They're right behind them. So you're going to have to keep an eye on the Cubs.
I was scoreboard watching at Oracle Park today, Eric, and you remember earlier this evening I sent you a text. I said, look at the White Sox. They're down by a run, 2 outs in the 9th. They had the bases loaded in that game, and Andrew Vaughn flied out. It does finish with the very,
what happens, man.
Very close score there, Eric. 7-6 final score. What else we got? The Reds and the Brewers. I'm not surprised at that. The Brewers are going to get hot. They post the 8-3 win. And Willie Adames, he had a big game again today. 3-run home run for Milwaukee.
All right, in game 2, Twins beat the Guardians 6-3. Again, looks like the Twins took both of those. Right? Yeah, right. Twins took the first one, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, there you go. Matt Wallner, 3-run home run, puts up the Twins. I remember he did a little bit of damage to the Giants when the Twins are here, if I remember correctly. If not mistaken, I think he had some clutch hits when he was down here in playing against the Giants. But, yeah, Twins, again, take both games, the game 1 and game 2 of that doubleheader against Cleveland.
Always a good day for baseball in Kansas City, Eric. And today, another team we're watching, the Cardinals, they were on the road to play the Royals. And in that game, Wilson Contreras hit a pair of 2-run home runs. The Cardinals posted the 8-5 victory. We'll be looking more at the Cardinals, some of these other teams when you and I and all of our guests take a look at the wild card standings coming up shortly.
Yeah, there you go. And then Atlanta can't beat the Rockies, man. Whew. I know it's in Colorado, man, but, man, what is going on with the Atlanta Braves? Remember, I said, hey, if they're going to get right, this is the place to do it. Well, they're still in there losing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's number 6 in a row. Yeah. Braves are fading away. What is going to happen? Is there going to be a shakeup? I don't know. But it was a close game. 6-5 Rockies over the Braves in Colorado.
Bryce Miller, he threw 6 innings. Ryan Bliss homer to lead the Mariners past the New York Mets tonight.
Whoa. You went too far down there, Glenn. Too far.
Oh, I'm going ahead. I'm jumping down, leaving the good stuff for you.
Oh,
6-0 Mariners over the New York Mets tonight, Eric. As Ryan Bliss homer to lead the Mariners past the Mets in that win. The Mets, another team that we're keeping an eye on. So this was a pretty nice win for the Mariners tonight, Eric.
Yes, it was. Absolutely.
Plus, I want to do the Pirates game.
Sorry.
You want to do the Pirates. Okay, fair. I think I know why you want to do the Pirates. I got a feeling. Diamondbacks beat the Phillies. Look at that. That's a team that the Giants are chasing, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Again, both the Padres and the Diamondbacks are still in their winning ways, man. Those teams are hot, man. There's a chance one of those teams can take over the lead in the NL West. That is no joke, folks. No joke, folks. Anyways, Diamondbacks beat the Phillies 3-2 in Arizona.
And Eric, don't throw me under the bus because I'm just trying to help you out. I left one on the board for you to jump back up to. You know why? Because I know you have a little problem with the name. Jack Flaherty struck out 10 in the victory. Shohei Ohtani went deep again. The Dodgers beat the Pirates 9-5. And in the last week, the Pirates are just going down. And they look to be falling out of the race in a hurry.
Glenn, riddle me this.
Yes, sir.
What did Joey Bart do today for Pittsburgh?
What did Joey Bart do? I am glad you asked. Joey Bart was 1 for 5, but 3 batted in, scored a run. You know why he came up with those big numbers in just 1 hit? Because
I wonder why. Maybe
it was a home run.
Imagine that. How about that?
Wouldn't
Joey
it
Bart.
be nice to have him in our lineup? Eric, there's some catcher we kept, and I anybody seen our other catcher, Eric?
Tom Murphy, where are you? Yeah, I don't know, man. Farhan, in his infinite wisdom, decided to spend $8 million for Mr. Tom Murphy. Granted, he got hurt. I get it. I understand. That happens. But, man, I haven't heard no hide, no hair from that guy. No status, what he's doing. Don't know where he's playing. If he's playing, if he's rehabbing, we don't know what he's doing. But look at this. Look what Joey Bart is. He's putting up some really good numbers. He's close to 10 home runs. I think he's batting around 260-something. I don't know. 267. Man, would the Giants not take that? Come on, man. But except you send him on his way. You get Tom Murphy. He goes injured. You wind up having to pick Kasey. I mean, come on. And, it's a perfect segue because look at the catching work today behind the dish was not good.
He's not just producing. He's been pretty clutch since going over to Pittsburgh, Eric, including his grand slam home run in just his first game as a Pirate. Now, tonight he did have the home run. He was only 1 for 5, but clutch. And when he comes off the bench, Eric, that I think is what makes him so valuable. When he is a guy who doesn't start a game, he can come off a bench and produce. I don't understand why he is not still a San Francisco Giant.
Lucky Luciano says Joey Bart is trash. Come on, guys. I don't know. Do you think so? Really? I mean, he's having a pretty good year. I don't know about that.
No,
would you take Kasey? Yeah. Would you take Tom Murphy over Joey Bart right now? I mean,
no, absolutely not. No,
especially considering the age.
Tom Murphy, right? Yeah, exactly. He's still young.
Yeah, I mean, Joey Bart is solid, not spectacular necessarily. I mean, he's good, not terrible. I'm not sure he would be first choice catcher here, but I think he'd be solid as a backup. I definitely think Patty has got more stuff that I would take over him, but Patty has been struggling lately. So
yeah, his bat. Now, granted, today he had a key sacrifice fly. He didn't have a hit, but he had a sacrifice fly. So I mean, I'll take that. But his bat hasn't been producing very much. And again, maybe, to be honest with you, maybe it's better for Bart for the simple fact that he's getting it every day, because I don't think he would get the same playing time in San Francisco as he would in Pittsburgh. So that's maybe why he's being able to succeed, because he's able to get those more at bats. I don't think he
look what Abraham says. Backup catcher, great role for Bart. Keeps him fresh, lets him be what he is. He's
Fair
best
enough.
bat
Fair
first catcher with pop.
Isn't that what he's kind of doing in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Is he catcher number one?
Pretty much, yeah.
No,
He's not catcher number one, is he?
No, he isn't. Oh, okay.
I don't know if he is. I don't think he is.
I believe they
wrong.
drafted somebody else. I can't remember his name.
Henry Davis. But I think he's he's still down in the minors. I know they had optioned him back to the minors because he had to work on some stuff. I don't know if he's back up or not. Do not know on that. But that was out of town scoreboard. It's interesting because you got some teams again that are chasing the Giants, and you got some teams ahead of them that are still winning. I don't know. You think the Giants can catch up to the Diamondbacks and the Padres? I mean, anything's possible if they go on a losing streak and the Giants keep winning. But boy, they are. What do you think, Kasey?
I don't know, like, if that's the focus. I feel like catching up to the Mets should be the number one.
Fair enough.
Because I don't know. I mean, we saw, Arizona is very streaky, and so are the Padres. But, those two teams have, I feel like the power and the pop that the Giants just don't necessarily have on a daily basis. They have had it recently, but I don't know. New York was pretty terrible. I remember when the Giants played them in New York months ago at this point. Like, it was a completely different Mets team than now. And Lindor has been so hot. And at the same time, too, like, that was a lot, when a lot of Pete Alonso trade talks were surfacing and they decided to ride with him. And Paul Blackburn, I think, has been a really good pickup for the Mets. So I think that's tough if you're, rooting against him, because he's been lights out as a recent starter acquisition. So I think catching the Mets and the Braves, if they do get, back into that third spot, as I'm sure they'll make a push for because of the Braves. And even with a 6-game losing streak, you can't count them out. So I think really just kind of forgetting about those top 2 spots in the wild card and kind of just aiming to get that third is the goal for me.
Yeah. There you go. And go for it, Glenn. Go for it.
No, do you want to jump on board with the bring it up on the scoreboard now?
I was just going to do the standings.
Let's look at the standings now.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to do.
Anything I could add to what Kasey said after?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it, man.
Oh, I thought you were going to do this. Okay.
No,
then I can?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. To add to what Kasey said, I think also Jose Quintana and a lot of those other guys have been like, I think the Mets, just looking at how they're playing, like, they were terrible at the start of the year, like Kasey said, and they've actually somehow managed to like pull it off and turn it around. And it's been very impressive to watch how they've been doing. I thought we were going to have the same joke at the end of the year about the Mets and make funny about them. But unlike us, they've turned it around and they've actually figured out how to put it all together, and it's looking good. But I think I would agree with Kasey in a lot of ways that I'm not sure if we can catch the Padres and the Diamondbacks. We do play them in September, which will give us a shot to like test our ability against them and see if we can beat them. But I do think like the team that we are most likely to catch, and on top of that, it would be the Mets, because on top of that, we also have the head-to-head against the Mets. So we don't necessarily even have to beat them. We just have to tie them or even get like super close. I don't think we should do that, but we should definitely focus on beating the Mets because they are probably within the most distance. They also have had some rough games recently. They've lost to those Angels. They, like I mentioned a couple times, I think they also lost one to the Rockies, which is coming from a Giants fan is pretty damn embarrassing. But yeah, I think that the Mets would be the most ideal team that we would have to go after. But we do have a chance against all 3 of them, I think. But we'll have to see.
Yep, that is true. Ooh, I'm taking a look at this. This is going to be interesting. We'll take a look here. I'm just looking at something else right now. We'll come to this later, going back to the Mets, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. All right, here we go. Mm-hmm. The standings. Padres sitting at top, 65-52. Arizona right behind them, 64-53. Look at this, though. Padres won 6 in a row. They're playing some damn good baseball, man. Damn good baseball. Arizona, again, because they lost one, now they're back onto a winning streak with 1. But you look at that over the last 10, 8-2, man. They're getting it done. Mets lost 1. They're sitting at 5-5. Again, they're 61-55. They're sitting in the third and final wild card spot with Atlanta right behind them, only a half a game out. They've lost 6 in a row.
Yikes.
Last 10. Look at that.
They are slipping and sliding. It looks bad. Like
it does. What is it going to mean? I don't know. Maybe they're just going through a slump. That's possible. Teams do that. Teams go through slumps. It's possible that's what it is. And then you got St. Louis right below Atlanta. They're 1.5 out. And then right below them, only a half game behind St. Louis there, is the Giants with 2 games over 500. How about that? When's the last time we were 2 games above 500? My goodness.
I think it was May.
Yeah, I think it was May, June. The end of May, beginning of June. That's what it was. So this is who we're chasing. But then again, Chicago is only 4 out. Pittsburgh's only 4.5. Cincinnati is only 5 out. These teams are still in it, man. So Giants, not only are they having to look the teams above them, you got to watch what's up. They got to look in the rearview mirror to see what's going on behind them as well. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, these next couple of months is going to be interesting. And this is what I was bringing up when you were talking about that stuff here. Let me bring it up. Let's take a look at the Mets schedule here for August.
Oh my gosh.
And tomorrow night, Eric, of course, there was we were supposed to have him on tonight. We wanted to make room for Kasey tonight, especially with the Giants playing a home game. Tomorrow night, Tom Durchovich, Tommy D, as he's well known in New York, he's going to join us to talk about the Mets on our show, Eric.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, can't wait.
That's going to be good. That's going to be good. As you see, right now they're playing Seattle. They lost the first one. After that, the day off, and then they play the A's, and then they play Miami. So that's going to be in their benefit. Then they got the Orioles, going to be tough. Then they got the Padres, going to be tough, and then they got the Diamondbacks, which is going to be tough. They finish out the month playing. I'm guessing there's going to probably be one in September playing against the White Sox. So they might be able to make some hay there.
That's not an easy month.
Nope.
But neither do the San Francisco Giants. I think their schedule with the Blue Jays and with the Nationals, and scroll down again. You get the Blue Jays. You get
this is September. This is September.
Yeah, you get the Blue Jays, the Nationals. You had another team in there, I think, that was pretty. You had the White Sox. They have a much easier schedule than our Giants in the month of September.
In the month of September, but the August one is pretty difficult. The Giants have a light schedule in August. But they got a very difficult one for September.
You got to win. It's the bottom line, Eric. It doesn't matter who you're playing.
Correct.
Doesn't matter.
You got to go out there and take care of business.
You have Oakland away.
You saw what happened last night. Eric and I had never heard of that pitcher, really. And I thought, I said, this is going to be juicy tonight. How many runs we put on the board? Look what happened. So you just never know in the game of ball.
What were you saying, Kasey, about the A's?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, the Giants also have almost all of August at home if you count the Oakland series as a home series.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he's safe to. But I think that's huge considering how good the Giants have played at home and how much they've struggled on the road. So I think we'll see. But I mean, I think the interesting thing is, too, like when you pulled up the standings, is the run differential.
Yes.
I mean, the Giants are one of 2 teams, kind of in that upper
and the Cardinals.
Yep. Them and the Cardinals who have negative, and the Giants aren't negative by that much, but I mean, and I'm sure they could get it positive if they keep playing how they're playing now, but in the next few games. But I think that's really interesting. I mean, like, the Padres are, I think, in the 60s or the 50s. And the same with the D-backs, I think, as well. So
do you put a lot, Kasey, into those numbers or numbers in general, especially run differential? Because if you do, look at the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah,
Cincinnati's a plus 40.
Yeah, I mean, not really, but I think it shows kind of like what we were talking about earlier, like consistency. Like if you're really deep negative in run differential and still a good team, like it probably shows that you're getting a lot of inconsistent winning kind of situations, or you're just a really streaky team, which the Giants in a way are. So I guess I don't think it's unpredictable. I think like if you're negative, like it's nothing to kind of look at and be like, oh, the Giants are negative. Like, I think we all know this. I don't think it's going to really change my perception of, their qualification for the postseason, because I don't think it does. So, yeah. That's
a great stat there. Greg brings
500.
34 games left with teams over 500. What's the Giants' record against teams over 500? I got the feeling that it's not good. Anyone out there? Adi, if you're out there, man, go
Adi
out there.
No. Oh, geez, Adi will know.
Someone in the chat, if you guys could look that up. What is the Giants' record against teams above 500?
I got the over-under on Ibrahim or Adi. They'll know. What do you think, Eric?
Ibrahim
or Adi? They'll know.
It's hard because, like, like that's a hard stat I feel like to calculate because like when they're like think about like the first few weeks of the season and like teams only played a few games, like would that be counted like opening day? Like
good point.
Opening week,
Good point.
Like Padres were under 500, right? So like
good point. Maybe you got to look after the first month or so, maybe.
Yeah.
Positive Pandas, that's 26 and 38.
Eric, that was a tough when you look at stages of the season, do you remember when you and I were talking, Eric, opening, I guess a week before opening day? So I saw 13 of the first 14 games to start the season. And most of it was that road trip to start the year with San Diego and Los Angeles. They did not look good. And I was so fired up, especially with having Jung-Hoo Lee, who kind of disappointed. I thought he was going to bring speed to the lineup, and he didn't.
Jorge Soler, he was a huge disappointment.
Yeah, and look at what a tough start we had. We didn't get out of the gate fast at all. So actually, to be where we are right now,
it's pretty impressive.
4 games out is pretty damn good.
Because think about it. In the beginning of the season, Yaz wasn't hitting. Soler wasn't hitting. Chapman wasn't hitting. Jung-Hoo Lee wasn't hitting.
Everything was
Slater wasn't hitting.
Slater wasn't hitting. I mean,
Blake
Blake Snell was goofy. I mean,
Wilmer wasn't hitting. He didn't hit all year, and he's out for the year now.
Yeah,
it was tough in the beginning of that season, and unfortunately, the reason why the Giants are where they are today is because of that bad start that they had. To be honest with you, I mean they dug themselves a hole. Now, no, look, it's great that that Snell is producing now. But he is part of the reason why the Giants are in this predicament. I mean, you got to take the season in totality. I'm not going to pick and choose where they were really good and not, identify when they were bad because they were bad. It's going to be interesting, man. But that's all I ask, right? As a fan, just be in the hunt. Come on, let's be in the hunt and make some good decisions. One thing I wish they would do is just put a lineup out there. Just put out the best players every single day. That's all I ask, man. I understand there's a certain amount of platooning that happens. I get it, especially at the bottom end of the lineup. That's where you should have your platooning. I get it, late in games. But when you're changing your lineup consistently throughout, for me, you're not doing the players any favors because it's a game of routine, and the more routine that you get, the more batters that you see on the same, that are throwing the same way that you bat. It's a learning experience, and you learn how to be a better player, and you're taking that away from these players. And I just don't like seeing that, but
did you guys think that Farhan really set things up quite nicely, actually, from training camp on when he had these guys, who were comers this year? You were waiting for Snell and you were waiting for Ray. He has built this team with pitching now when it counts. Basically they're not tired, they're rested. They're basically past their spring trainings now, and they're just coming out firing. You got to like what you've seen from Ray and Snell lately. And then
I would have said that.
Man,
I agree with that.
Get healthy. He may be right, Eric. This pitching staff is looking pretty decent
right now. It's doing good. I worry a little bit. Webb is a little bit different now. I don't know. We'll see how he does.
Because I obviously he's had
those young kids.
Yeah, I mean, Birdsong, obviously, we can talk about him 5 years from now because he's going to stick around, I'm sure. But he, obviously that last start was really disappointing, and that's a game the Giants would love to have back. And we could be talking, end of the season, and that's the difference between making the playoffs and not when you have a first inning 4-run lead or whatever it was. So, but I do love Birdsong as a development piece and whatever he's been able to bring. And like you said, I mean, the starting rotation I think is interesting because. Almost simultaneous to Snell coming back, you have Jordan Hicks fading quite a bit, and so they can switch places in a way. And Hicks obviously took the back seat. I guess he's going to close now, and Snell is been pretty lights out. So with no hitters to say the least. So I think the pitching staff, like you said, it was built to win, and injuries and inconsistency is what plagued. I mean, even Kyle Harrison had some really tough starts to begin the year. Keaton Wynn had plenty, and he's been hurt so much too. So I don't know. I mean, it's a interesting setup the way they did it, and I think it's exciting if you're a fan of Birdsong to see him keep growing and developing.
Hey, Eric, is it Robert Doval? Have I got a date with Robert tomorrow?
Yes, you do. You're going to be at the ballpark, right?
Tomorrow's date, David. Don't tell my wife. I got a meeting with Robert at the Coke bottle tomorrow prior to the game with Detroit. So I'll see you, Robert. Are you still going to be? I think he's in the chat. So, Robert,
Yeah, he's
you
out there.
better not let me down. You don't stand me up on date night, buddy.
What you got there, Carter?
I mean, as a guy who's watched this team since I was like 5, I've had the luxury of seeing absolutely incredible pitchers. I mean, and obviously I'm not going to talk about them right now because that's not the point, but I look at all these guys that I see on the team, and I think the first thing I said when I came on this show was that this pitching staff could be really good. It could, if we have everything clicking right. I mean, like, we have our ace who has been here for a long time in Logan, who has been consistent and who he's always been. He's always been the guy that we've seen on the field and on the mound. He's been great in that way. I think Zilla, Blake, Mr. Snell has been doing really well as of late. I mean, when he threw that no-hitter, I freaked out more than I ever have in my time as a Giants fan. I've seen Robbie be consistent and do well. Kyle and Hayden. I mean, when I saw Hayden first come up against the Cubs, I was kind of looking at him as more like okay, kid, you're being brought up more as like a necessity. Not a necessity, but more as like, a necessity. More as like, you have to be here. You have to be here
Because of
or
injury.
we're in trouble because we can't keep having these bullpen games. And in his first start, he wasn't terrible, but then he started slowly showing progression. He played better and better, and he kept playing okay. I'm not saying that the guy is going to be an ace or the greatest pitcher in all of baseball, but I certainly think that the kid could be one of the better contributors to this team. And he looks good, especially when I saw him go up against the Rockies. He was dealing them out with that curveball and playing super well. I mean, obviously, like Kasey talked about, like that game against the Nats, you want to have that back because it wasn't a great game for him. It wasn't a great game for the team, obviously, either. But I think when I look at this staff and I look at this team and I look at how it could all fit together, I think if this pitching staff can be what Farhan Zaidi wants it to be, then we really could go far. But that's yet to be seen because we have a very limited sample size with Zilla and Robbie and all these guys together. And let's just see how this goes.
Hey, speaking of great pitchers, you know
ahead,
who's in town this weekend, Eric? Guys,
Yeah,
you know
Madison
who's in
Bumgarner.
town this weekend? Mad Bum.
Yeah.
Mad Bum's
you
over at the
kidding
ballpark this weekend. This is, I'm not sure my wife knows. She got us specialty tickets for her friends who are going to join us tomorrow at the game. But tomorrow on Sunday, there's a lot of giveaways, and they're honoring one of the teams, one of the World Series teams this week. I got to guess it was 2014, Eric.
Yeah.
So there's a Mad Bum sighting down the street at Oracle Park. Good to see him back in town. Yeah. Tomorrow, Logan Webb goes to the Hill. He's 9-8, 3.42 ERA. Tigers at this late hour on a Friday night still haven't announced who's starting 105 tomorrow. Giants are 60-58, a couple now. A week ago, Eric, you and I were like, oh, we're trying to catch 500. And then we were up there. We dropped, and then we were back again. The game up. Now we're 2 games up. You really can't ask for more.
Yeah.
I asked for more.
Oh, geez. How many times do I have to
want
say it?
more.
Eric is always
I
the
want more.
downer.
Hey,
Oh, come on.
Man. Yeah.
And everybody in our chat knows it, Eric.
goodness gracious. Real quick to go back to
And the
pitching.
good news, guys. Hey, Carter, did you notice every time that Eric says anything bad about Canha, he has a big game.
Maybe I should keep it up. Maybe I should keep it up.
Keep it up. Keep it up. Hey,
Keep
if
it
it's
red
working.
hot. He's like, I
No,
don't
you
know.
Canha! Get out of here,
buying
Canha! Anyways,
Terrible.
um,
Worst player in baseball.
Here we go. Here we go. We're talking about pitching. Are any of you guys concerned with the amount of innings that Birdsong and Harrison are having to pitch? You think that's going to rear its ugly head when we get into September? Remember, this is the first time these guys have, specifically Harrison, he's never gone a full season in MLB. It's a lot different than being in the minors. Birdsong came up about halfway, so he may be a little bit better. I don't know, but do you guys have any concern maybe that they wear down towards the end?
Maybe. I think, I think it's the thing. It's like, when are they going to take that leap? And I don't know if, for a guy like Harrison, I could see him absolutely making that leap just because, he has MLB service under his belt. from last year, and he's been in the rotation. But I do think that is a concern for sure, and I think that kind of touches back to the fact that like Robbie Ray's entrance to this team is so vital because that adds the experience that the Giants were missing to start the year. I mean, we talked about it. You're starting the year with your ace Logan Webb, but you have Jordan Hicks, who's never started before, Keaton Wynn, who's relatively young, and Kyle Harrison. And so I think yes, but I think bringing Robbie Ray back is bigger in a lot more ways than it seems. I think having that experience to the point where if you're in a 3-game series and Kyle Harrison is not feeling good, I mean, you could always put in, Logan Webb, Robbie, and throw a bullpen game if you have to. I mean, I know a lot of Giants fans hate it, but I think lucky for them, I don't think they're going to have to see Tariq Skubal this weekend.
Yeah, I think they're avoiding Skubal.
Yeah, I was nervous about going up against Scooby because I think he's going to win the Cy Young in the AL. I don't think it's going to be even close, in my opinion. But to touch on what Eric's talking about, and Kasey too, I think that looking at these two guys, I think Hayden does have a bit more margin for error because he's pitched a little less than Kyle. He has a little less
less wear and tear on his arm.
Yeah, less wear and tear. I think with Kyle, it's going to be interesting because it's like Kasey said, he does have MLB service. I think he could do some stuff. And also his velocity isn't as high as like a lot of other pitchers. So he's not ripping his arm as hard as like, I don't know, Zilla or even Robbie.
Well, I'll tell you what concerns me with Harrison. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. His pitching motion is very odd. And it almost looks like his arm's ready to explode. I hope something like that doesn't happen. One thing I've noticed, his velocity is nowhere near what he was being touted. He was supposed to be like a high 90s guy with a pretty good slider. He's now more like low 90s than anything else. And maybe it's deception, which is fine. The deception will work. Madison Bumgarner is a perfect example. He was more deception than he was velocity. But still, there's something weird. It's that Anonymous pointed it out to me when he does that yo-yo, where when he throws that pitch with his left hand, he brings it right back after he throws it, like he's trying to pull it back like a yo-yo. It's a little bit weird. I don't know if that's in the long run, if that's sustainable. Maybe they might have to do some adjustments, but we'll see. We'll see how he does. He's got the build for it. It's not like he's not like a Tim Lincecum, but Tim Lincecum was a freak anyways. But we'll see how it works out. We'll see how it works out.
I think to add to that, if Kyle was throwing like a splitter with his hand in doing that motion, I think I would be nervous because when you throw a splitter like this, it puts a lot of stress on this part of the arm. So if he was doing that in the motion that he's doing right now, I would be nervous. But
that's what Wisenhunt has. He has a splitter from the left.
Just gotta be careful.
I don't think it would be a bad idea to look into, because I look at Dylan Cease, right? I mean, he just threw a no-hitter, and I think that was single-handedly because he stopped doing the kind of like motion, backflip motion with his hand. And I mean, Harrison's a young guy, and there's still a lot of time for him to switch up his motion. I don't know if he wants to go that drastic, but I mean, we just saw with Dylan Cease, and I mean, that guy's
Cease has a great path this year. I mean, he's part of the reason why the Padres are so good right now.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, real quick, how about Alex Cobb? Good thing the Giants got rid of him. Remember, everyone's hanging their hat. Everyone's hanging their hat. Wait till Cobb gets back. You saw what he did in his first game back?
What did he do?
How
bad was it? Oh, actually, I didn't see. How bad was it?
Here, let's bring it up. I'll bring up his
Oh, by the way, Glenn, score. I think you're muted right now.
Yeah, you're muted, Glenn.
Hello.
There you are.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
I'm new to this technology. I've never worked in radio or television before, so this YouTube is a little strange for me.
By the way, guys, thanks for having me on tonight. I really appreciate this.
Always.
Hey, you bet, man.
Anybody out there in the chat wants to participate. It's all about the chat, guys. It's like
get to that chat.
I said to Eric several times, it's like a big family reunion every night. All the guys are back. They keep on coming back night after night, including you guys. And I see Robert DeVille's there. So I guess Robert is going to show up for date night tomorrow. And Grand Admiral is in the house. We got so many familiar faces Familiar names, Eric, and they all contribute in their own special way. Some more special than others.
And real quick, Cobb went 4 2/3, gave up 9 hits, gave up 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout.
Yikes. That is honestly, it might have been a good idea to send him away. I mean, it was his last year anyway. I mean, like we were gonna have to pay him, and we were gonna have to do something without him. I think it was a good idea to send him away. Just
still had to pay. They paid the contract. They paid his contract.
Yeah, there you go. But at least this way, we got like a decent prospect back for him. And Glenn, I think your mic is also doing it's muted.
No,
again.
I think he's good.
No, I'm here.
No, he's
sorry.
good.
Sorry.
No, he's good.
Thinking.
It's all good.
Just thinking. So I was going to ask our special guests, Eric, before you guys wanted to touch on that. There's been so much said in the last week about we really have to have a winning record that is so almost unfathomable. What do you think it takes to get in postseason, make it into the wild card?
I mean, personally,
some guys are saying 80. You got to play 75
80
ball, and because we're trying to play catch up. Here we are. We're only 2 games out now, guys.
So are you asking like how many wins?
Yeah, how many wins?
Winning percentage. Like, what are you looking at? Like, is this a reality?
I mean, I think the way the National League is going, I think the bar is a little bit lower, just given what we were talking about. Like, if you only really have to catch the Mets and Braves at this point, unless some team like the Pirates goes on a run or something. But I think realistically, like ballpark of 89 to 95 in that range. I don't know. That's just basing off of last year. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think I said this to Eric and you last night or a couple nights ago. I think it was something like we basically cannot lose a series for the rest of the year. I don't think. I mean, just looking at the schedule ahead of us, we have the Braves, the Mariners, the White Sox. We have and then in September, that's when it really ramps up when we have to face some of the best teams in the NL. We have to face our division rivals, and we have to beat them to try and stay in the race. It's just, the Cardinals too. They're a bunch of they're a very strange team. They're a very arrogant team. They really think they can do it. But I want
they're
to
weirdos. I like that, Grand Admiral.
They're
That's pretty good. Matter of fact, you know what? Do I have it? I don't. Yeah. As a matter of fact, check it out.
And now, another Giant Sports Talk Live hot take from Grand Admiral Shanahan.
Oh, man. The Cardinals are weirdos. They, too, could go on a run. That's true. I mean, they traded for Eric Fetty. That's going to help. That's going to bolster the rotation.
That will help.
You got Sonny Gray, who's having a great year. So all they got to do is have their bats wake up. Hey, maybe Brandon Crawford gets back into the damn playoffs, even though he ain't even batting 200.
No, yeah,
crazy.
I mean, it's been but to continue with what Kasey was saying, I think it's basically got to be I think for the rest of the season, it's just going to be if we are going to win, and that's in the world of if we can. We basically cannot lose a series. I don't think we can't underachieve against bad teams. Most of all,
exactly.
We cannot play horribly against bad teams. If we do, then we will lose. And
you can't lose the games we have to win. You can't lose those games.
Right. Because even if we do make it into the playoffs after just limping in there, what's going to happen when we get there if we've underachieved against a bunch of bad teams? We're going to get absolutely blasted by the Brewers or whichever team we face. And it's not going to look good for us. I mean, I think our goal should be at this point to try and get there, obviously, because I do want to get there. I want to see this team do well. I want to see the guys on this team and how they perform in the playoffs. But I do think what I said to Eric and Glenn last night basically is just we can't lose a series for the rest of the year. We cannot relent to our rivals. And if they start losing, we need to start winning. And most of all, I'd say the offense cannot be mediocre, bad, or underachieving versus bad teams.
Like a game tonight, Eric. Carter, Kasey, game tonight. Yeah. That game from first pitch, that game was there for the taking, and we had to win it in the bottom of the ninth. You can't let those slip away. Teams like Detroit,
that's something.
Oakland coming up.
Yeah.
We got some weak sisters, and this is the month we have to beat those teams, Eric.
Yeah. And here's, I talked about it yesterday. You guys are calling me Debbie Downers. Yes, we're winning these games, but how is the team actually playing? And that's something that needs to be be looked at, because I don't like winning these type of games. There's certain times where you just got to go out there and just put an ass whooping out there. And they're not doing it against these bad teams. So how do you think it's going to be when you start playing the better teams? Do you see what I'm saying?
We're not doing it, period.
Now, August, there's an opportunity here for the Giants to really get some momentum, pile up some wins, because when it comes September, it is going to be a gauntlet. And you got teams in there that are battling for wild cards. You got teams that are battling for divisions, and it will not be easy. So if the Giants can't make any headway in the month of August, you could pretty much kiss it goodbye. Look, it's baseball. Anything can happen. But, boy, they got their work cut out for them. And we'll have to see.
I think, obviously, wild card is not something when you go into the year that you're striving for. I mean, if you're especially a big spender this offseason like the Giants, obviously the Dodgers are there, but you want to win your division. But I think the Giants are in a unique position where, I would feel very confident, at least from a pitching side, going into a wild card series where you have 2 to 3 games. And I mean, you put out Snell, Webb, and Robbie Ray / Harrison.
Correct.
I think that's pretty scary, especially if the bats can heat up. But I mean, we've seen I think the Tampa Bay Rays are a great example of a team in the past few years that are consistently very good, but their offense is dead when it comes to playoff time. They've always had a great rotation, Glass now and Rasmussen and some other guys. And so I think that's what I worry about, because the offense is, like we saw tonight, is incredibly inconsistent. I mean, the National Series was fine, but I mean, I think it comes down to the Matt Chapman extension talks and as we, the opt-outs, how is that going to affect kind of these guys' desire going down the stretch?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You bring up care of your own business too. You got to take care of your own business. And I know it's fun for us to watch the scoreboard. Eric and I, every night and every morning, take a look at the wild card, and that's a whole lot of fun. The Giants club got to take care of business, worry about their own games, because something that Eric, Tommy D, when we spoke briefly this afternoon about having him on the show tomorrow night, he said to me, he goes, just that. You got to look after your own games out west, because in September, Eric, I mean, it's quite the algorithm, but you've got all of those teams we're trying to catch playing each other.
Yeah.
Well, there'll be wins and losses. You got to win your own games and let that do the talking.
Yes.
Because there'll be an opportunity to make up ground when those teams are playing each other. When the Mets are playing the Cardinals are playing the Mets are playing Atlanta, and so on and so forth. You keep winning, do whatever it takes to win, pick up each half a game here and a half a game there. And I think there's time. I think this team's gonna make the playoffs, Eric.
Ooh, bold.
You heard it
here. What you got, Carter?
I was going to say that I think Glenn's right about that. I think that what this team is going to have to do, it's going to have to thrive on the chaos of everything else, because it's like Glenn said, we are going to be playing the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are going to play us. The Padres are going to play us. And then the Padres and the Diamondbacks are going to play each other. The Padres are going to play the Mets. The Mets are going to play the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are going to play the Padres. It's just in that situation, when that chaos is swirling around, there's opportunity for a team like us to just take advantage of a bunch of teams just fighting each other. Because when that happens, they're not looking at us, I don't think. Because I would say, everybody in baseball, I think, looks down on the Giants in a lot of ways. Because they look at us and they're like, oh, yeah, that's the team that won 3 World Series in 5 years. But I don't hear anybody talk about that. They're immediately like, oh, that's just the Giants. It's just the Giants. This is what they do. They're annoying and whatever. But I think a perfect example of this was when Dylan Cease got his no-hitter. Everybody screamed and was freaking out about Dylan Cease. Like, oh, Dylan Cease is this guy. He's that guy. And then when Blake Snell gets his no-hitter, I don't hear a damn word out of anybody. Everyone's just like, oh, yeah, this is the Giants. This is just something weird that they just pulled out of there, But I do think, knowing us and how much people don't look at us as a threat, we can take advantage of the chaos.
You know why they don't look at us as a threat? Look at the last 3 seasons. Speaking of which, how about you just look at what 2019, 2020, take out 2021, look what 2022 and 2023 have done. That's why they don't take the Giants serious, because they're not playing winning baseball. You're lucky you get 500 with this club. That's not built for success, man. If you look, how many times do I got to say this, man? This is one of the top 5 richest baseball teams.
Yeah.
And you can't sit there and be shooting for the division. You're shooting for a wild card. Expectations are too low, and I don't like that. If you're going to go out, if you're going to want to make business here, you got to have your goals a little bit loftier than that. And if it means you got to spend more, do it, because you know damn well the Giants aren't broke, man. Not even close to being broke. So open up that wallet and have to pay, because unfortunately, that's what you're going to have to do if you weren't going to compete with the likes of the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Mets, to a certain extent, the Braves. Because look, if you're not having any success in drafting and developing, if you're not having any success in free agents, if you're not having any success in trading for players, you're not doing nothing, man. You're not. Yeah. And to your point, Kasey, what you said about all these opt-outs, I'm tired of the Farhan specials, man. That's all they are. They're opt-outs. Because what are you doing? It could be a win-win. It could be a lose-lose. I mean, for the simple fact, if the player sucks, he opts in, and then you're stuck with him. If the player's great, he opts out and goes somewhere else.
There you go.
So how is that building for the future? I hate that. Now,
no-win situation.
I saw there's some talk about maybe some conversations maybe happening with Chapman and extending him. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Usually Scott Boras, he doesn't tend to have his players extend. He likes to have them hit the free agency because they could get more. You got more teams involved to jack up the price. So we'll see what happens in the offseason. He might want to, I mean, he's having a decent year considering.
Yeah.
And he may want to test that free agency because he might be able to get paid somewhere else for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
But that's something that's a philosophy that has to change either with Farhan or you get rid of him at the end of the season.
And I mean, I think the Giants, like, there's no reason why they shouldn't. I mean, look at the last 3 World Series winners, right?
Yeah.
You know, the Rangers, the Astros, and the Braves are all big spenders, and they all have young talent to sort of back that up. Like developed young talent, right? Like Jeremy Pena in 2022. Last year, you could look at Evan Carter, 2021. You know, I don't have the roster memorized, but they had young guys they developed, and
yes.
But I think the Giants have a lot of that, right? I mean, they have the big spending, you know, like Blake Snell and Matt Chapman, the guys they got in the offseason, but they also have a lot of, you know, Tyler Fitzgerald, Elliot Ramos. So I don't think there's any reason why they shouldn't be. I think it's just when the games are there for them to win, they don't take them. And I think that's why the publicity around the Giants has been widely negative this year. They're frustrating to watch a lot of times.
It is 100%.
Yeah.
Go for it, Carter.
Yeah, I was going to say basically that I think that looking specifically at like the range, I think the Kasey's best example was the Rangers. I mean, like they bought Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Nathan Eovaldi, John Gray, Andrew Heaney. They bought all of those guys. They did spend like upwards of $500 million.
You're missing DeGrom.
Yeah, DeGrom as well.
Scherzer.
Yeah, Scherzer. There you go.
They traded for him, right?
Yeah,
Scherzer,
exactly.
Yeah.
They got all of these things. But then in the back end, like when they were doing all that, they also were developing incredible talent. Look at backstop, Jonah Heim, who has been an essential player for them, their catcher. Look at Nathaniel Lowe and Josh Jung, like those 2 guys who are complements perfectly to Seager and Semien. And then the outfield is full of fresh faces like Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford. It's perfect. And
unfortunately for Langford, that sucks for him. He's out for the whole season, the rest of the season. Is Young back, by the way? Is he playing third base again?
Back. Yeah, he's
Young's
back.
Young is
he's been
back.
playing like he's very limited right now, but yeah, he's playing.
Yeah, because I know he's coming back from a broken hand or something like that.
Yeah, that sucked. That sucks so much.
But it's going to be interesting. I think the Giants have to change some type of philosophy and actually put together a baseball team and not try to work these numbers, not try to always work the margins, man. Look, that can work for, you know, some bench players and maybe 7 through 9 in your batting order. But come on, let's not put a team together like that. But again, that's going to be a discussion for another, especially in the offseason. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, the offseason will be the biggest time for us.
Hey, awesome. Carter, you got a different background tonight. You're in a new location. Kasey's got quite the background there tonight. Kasey, what do you got all over the wall there? It looks like you got, are they jerseys on display all folded up all in some kind of a display unit?
Yeah, they're all autographed jerseys. So
hey,
sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Man, that's a lot of great jerseys too.
Yeah,
That is
it's mostly
so
NBA. It's like the
Nice.
top row is Warriors. I got Sacramento Kings on the second row, and then some others, various.
Hey, all right, man. That's
That's
freaking
good.
nice.
That's really awesome.
Yeah,
That is nice. Do you have your own dorm room in USC, or do you have to go stay off campus?
I have my own dorm room. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Good.
I'll be back there in a few weeks, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, you guys start like in September time, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I'm actually going back in like 2 weeks or so.
Oh, before school starts.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Casey, are you a Kings fan or just primarily Warriors?
Oh, I'm a big Warriors fan. I just like grew up kind of going to both because I like going to Kings games a lot personally, and so I figured get the jerseys, get them signed. It's a good investment. It makes a cool wall piece. So yeah,
awesome.
I'm a Warriors fan, 100%.
Yeah, same for
Good
me.
deal.
But yeah, it's a.
And you're going to get ready to start going back here too, right, Carter? If I'm not mistaken, I think UCSC starts in September time. If I remember
September
correctly.
time. Yeah, it's going to be like I have to take care of some business related to like making sure my enrollment's finished, but yeah, pretty much everything's in order. Just got to make sure that I'm, not homeless. But yeah,
I know about that. My daughter had to stay off campus, man. It's not easy, especially in UCSC, man. It is not easy. What year are you heading into? You're
my first year, freshman.
Oh, you're going to be a freshman. Oh,
yeah,
nice.
There you go.
All right, cool. Awesome. Hey, guys, I appreciate you guys joining. Real quick, guys, check the description. You will see Kasey Kazliner's information. You'll see his Twitter. You'll see his Instagram. And he also has a YouTube channel. So make sure you guys check out his YouTube channel. Subscribe. Turn on your notification bells. And if you like his content, make sure you hit like. So I appreciate you coming on, Kasey. We're going to have to bring you on every so often and talk Giants baseball. We always love bringing people on. I just love hearing what people have to say about the Giants.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I love being on. Just let me know, and I'll be around. So thank you.
Awesome. And Carter, again, thanks for joining again, and we'll see you next time, man.
No, thank you for having me on, Glenn, Eric, and good seeing you, Kasey. It's good to meet another Giants fan.
Yeah, you too, man. Thank you.
No.
Take it easy, guys.
Thanks, Kasey.
Thank you.
Debut.
All right, there we go, guys.
You know what I like about tonight?
and
We're bringing it. We're bringing in the youth, the fresh.
Yeah,
blood.
we are. Absolutely, man.
You know what I'm bringing tonight, Eric?
What you got?
I don't know if I. You know what? Some of these you may have seen earlier in the week. I'm kind of I haven't cleaned up the desk. It's been like mayhem for us. We've been working on the sponsors during the day and trying to bring some money into the show and promote the show. And I was over at Oracle giving away the business cards and giving away stickers and all kinds of memorabilia today. Here's one. Did I show you this one the other day? Did I show you my maybe?
Oh, yeah. That was 1974, right?
So you saw the Tide Cobb. All right. We saw the Tide Cobb. Did you see my 1960? I think this might be a debut on the show. My 64 mantle.
Oh, haven't seen that. Brand new.
New one for you. That's my 64 mantle. Just picked that one up. Also, in 1964 from the same series, Yastrzemski.
Hey, Grandpa.
Grampy Yastrzemski there. That's a new addition to the collection. This one I just picked up. You won't have any knowledge probably of this one, Eric, but he's a guy that played for the Brandon Wheat Kings. That is an Upper Deck Logan Thompson rookie card, his young gun rookie card. He just got traded from the Vegas Golden Knights to the Washington Capitals. I think he's going to have a hell of a year. One of the first interviews I ever did when my radio career started. Almost a couple of generations ago. A long time ago, Eric.
A couple of generations.
He recently passed away, this guy, and had to get one of his older cards. This was his coach's card. His name was Emile the Cat Francis. He was goalie for the New York Rangers in the 1950s. So I picked up his New York Rangers coach's card.
That's cool, man.
Something about hockey players, Eric, back in the 70s. They were 28 years old, but they looked like they were 67.
Yeah, they look.
And I just want to revisit before I pack this one away one final time. This one is, I've been looking to add this one to the collection for a long time. A 1991 NBA Hoops card number 205. And that would be Mark Jackson.
Yeah, that's the one. The Killers in the background.
See them?
Crazy, man. The Menendez brothers.
So they murdered their parents, and then they took some money from. Well, it was all over money because the parents weren't going to give them any money till you got to get out there in the work. They were like, work. So they wanted the money, and they wanted it now. They murdered their parents. First thing they did was run down to Madison Square Garden and got front row seats to see the Knicks. And it just so happens they were taking photos for the NBA picture cards at that game. So that photo, those two young bastards right there, they had just murdered their parents literally hours before. And they made a bit of history by making the photo card of on Mark Jackson. That
is something.
What's the chances, really, too? What's the chance?
Exactly.
That all happens in one day.
That's crazy.
So I'm gonna put that one away. That was one I was trying to get a hold of. That was an 8th grade, which is really good. So not a whole lot in the pickups today. Oh, one other pickup, Eric. Maybe there's some people here. I am gonna trade this one or sell it. I had an E-Tops, Tom Brady.
Hey, look at that.
That's a decent one, worth a few bucks too. So I might just, I might move that, put some funds back into the kitty for the old Willie Flores collection.
Oh, Lord Almighty! Oh my God! Hey, before we forget, man, we haven't even mentioned it. Our sponsors, we got Signatures for Soldiers. Tim Vriglio has a great organization, helps out veterans, both disabled veterans and veterans who are homeless. He donates everything that he earns by selling signed merchandise and collectibles. That money goes right back to veterans programs to help veterans. So if you guys can just give us some support for Signatures for Soldiers, it's a great organization. Matter of fact, we had an interview with Tim in one of our previous shows. Go check it out. It's in our if you check our YouTube channel out, you will see that interview with Tim. It's a great interview. And a matter of fact, he dropped a card in the mail for you, right? That Madison Bumgarner and Buster Posey signed card. So
yeah, that was a photo of the 2014 celebration at the Mound after the World Series victory over Kansas City, Eric.
Yep.
Senior softball game says you need to get some Bryce. I have some Bryce Eldridge cards already.
Do you really?
Autographed. Yeah, I've got his first offerings, if you will. So these will be.
Wow, look at that. Glenn is already at work, man.
Eric, it's a labor of love. It's almost a business around my house.
When is the next MHC?
Oh, yeah,
go for it. Yep.
Yeah, we can't forget, Eric, Lefties, who are a proud sponsor of the show. Lefties in Burlingame, and a reminder coming up on August the 18th, they will have a meet and greet with one of the newcomers, one of the players that everybody should be over there meeting and greeting with, and that is Tyler Rogers. So, did I say Tyler Rogers?
You said Tyler Rogers.
Tyler Fitzgerald. It's been a busy day today. Lefties welcomes Tyler Fitzgerald. It will start 6 o'clock on August 18th. Tickets available by calling Jim at 650-697-2274, or you can message him, Jim at leftiessportscards.com. Also, another meet and greet coming up on August 31st for you old grizzled veterans, you fans of the old guys. Dusty Baker's going to be at Lefties. He'll be chewing on a toothpick or two, and he'll be there to say hi to you.
There you go.
So hi to everybody at Lefties. And Monday on their Facebook page, they have singles nights. And there's a chance for you to find some San Francisco Giant cards, Eric, for your collection. You can visit them, Lefties Sports. That's at Lefties, Leftys Sports, Sports, on Facebook. Monday night, 6:30. Every Monday night is singles nights at Lefties.
There you go.
Live. We got to take a quick look, Eric, at how many subscribers do we have?
We are sitting at 230 subscribers. Not too bad.
We are just 20 subscribers away from launching our first giveaway, which will be the Logan Webb Creamsicle jersey.
That's right. Absolutely. We've been saying that as soon as we hit 250, that's going to be our first jersey giveaway. So
I can't believe how quick we're there.
I know, man. I didn't expect it that quick, to be honest with you.
YouTube,
yeah, it takes a little while.
Guys. See, we got new guys in I'd never even heard of. We got migrations here from other chats. We've got We got people who, what was it, from an NBA page earlier tonight?
I don't know. Yeah, that was weird, man. That was really weird. I don't know how that happened, but hey. Welcome them. Welcome them.
I was talking to guys in other chats, Eric. I told you, I'm a man. I'm a business guy, Eric.
You're all over the place. Look, Lucky Luciano asking you a question. How much did that card set you back, if you don't mind me asking, Glenn? I'm thinking he's talking about that Mickey Mantle, I'm guessing. Oh, the Mark Jackson card. There you go.
Oh, I can't remember, to be honest with you. And my wife's just over in the other room, so I'll let Eric know off the air, and he can pass along the details.
What is your most prized collectible? Is it that Mantle rookie?
Most prized collectible
that you own right now?
Eric, that is such a tough one. I told you I really like having my 1865 Stonewall Jackson card. It is minty fresh. Like, this card looked like somebody picked it up at a store yesterday, and it's from
that's incredible.
1865. It's 170 years old, Eric.
Wow.
That's a Civil War card. My favorite cards. You know what? I would have to say it's not a card. My favorite collectibles are my Wilmer Flores bat, game used. My Wilmer Flores light standard, the big 9-foot thing that I got downtown.
The one you shimmied up the pole. Yeah, gotcha.
Shimmied up the pole. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. I work with the Power Corp. What else did I get? Oh, and my Mike Schooler rookie jersey game worn, and his second year jersey game worn.
Wow.
Don't mean a lot to other people, but we all had our favorite players. Some of us are young in the chat. You have your favorite player who might be a young guy like one of the Rogers brothers or Tyler Fitzgerald or some young guy on the club now. And when you got your favorite player, you got to stick with them.
Oh, here's a great question. What's your most prized card that you pulled yourself?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably my Pro Set Patrick Waugh card. First year they had Pro Set. They had a limited edition, I think 500 cards autographed. I got one of those in the pack.
Nice.
Should have flipped it at the time because they were going for some god awful, outrageous price, and I didn't sell it at the time. But I fare off all well.
Nice.
I'm more of a collector. Man. I'm more of a collector, Eric, than it. A lot of people I know that call themselves collectors, they're what we call in the biz flippers. Yeah, you're not a collector. I know one person who spent close to $1 million on Formula One racing cards. They loved the Formula One. I said, how can you watch that sport? They go, oh, I've never seen a race. I said, well, what are you doing? Like,
the hell?
I collect who I like. People, they rib at me a lot for collecting Wilmer. Well, I like cheering for Wilmer. I watch Wilmer. I see him with the Mets, Arizona, the Giants. We follow him day to day. But to say you're collecting and spending big bucks on something, and then you go, oh, I don't even watch the races. I'm not a fan of the sport.
That's really weird.
You're a flipper. And then we go, you're a flipper. You're just buying them and making money. So you're not really a collector at that point. But good question, Will. Yeah, I pulled the 19, what would that have been? 89 or 19? No, I think it was 1990. Pro
You bet,
set.
Lucky.
And I got the autographed Patrick Waugh.
That's cool. All right, let's recap a little bit. Giants win in walk-off fashion.
We're not used to having guests on this long, are we?
I know, man. Holy criminy. It's getting a little bit late, too. We normally don't go this late. It's getting a little on the late side.
Yeah.
Giants walk it off in the ninth, of course, with a Mark Canha sacrifice fly, the third sacrifice fly of the game. That's the only way the Giants were able to score runs today. It was a unique game. Robbie Ray was decent. He wasn't so bad. And Giants were able to get a win. Now tomorrow, game 2 in the afternoon. So we'll see how it pans out. But they're starting off. They're starting off the home stand pretty good. Do I like Mark Canha now? I like what he's doing. I can't deny that. He is he's coming through, so I can't deny that. Let's see if he keeps it up. If he keeps it up, man, he keeps climbing in my book. That's how it's going to work.
Well, do you see what my intro reads?
Yeah, exhausted.
Glenn? I really was. It was damp. It was cold. It was crazy over there, and we actually, Eric, we actually tried, you know what, just for posterity's sake, and the fact that I didn't do it all for nothing, Eric.
Oh, yeah.
We were unable to get the video back to you.
I don't know why.
Oracle Park. This is what it looked like outside the park. Can you see this?
What a night.
Yep.
What a night, Eric. Giants win. It's a walk-off. 3 sacrifice fly runs in the game. Beat Detroit 3-2. Mark Canha, just a few minutes ago, hit the walk-off. It was a fly ball, sacrifice fly. Michael Conforto, he scores the winning run. And he makes a winner out of Tyler Rogers. Pitches the victory coming in out of the bullpen. I know coming up in the show tonight, Eric, you're going to be talking about bullpen and some major moves that were made today. So as you can probably see, the fans are streaming out. Everybody is happy at Oracle Park. 3-2, Giants win the opener against the Detroit Tigers. And I'll be joining you from the studios on Giant Sports Talk Live in just a matter of minutes. Giants win again, this time at Oracle Park. Back to you, Eric.
Oh,
And that's
man.
how it ended up.
That's
Now, we didn't
awesome,
get that.
man. Come
We
on.
didn't get that. We didn't get that from our remote facility. But it was the first try. So
First
you know
try.
what? We're going to pick that up. We're going to be doing all kinds of fun stuff, and I would dare say some shenanigans to come at Oracle Park in the waning stages of this season. We're going to have a whole lot of fun. But then I ran back here, Eric. So the whole show, I've actually been sweating because I haven't fully recovered from the jaunt. And did you see the post early in the show we never got to, Eric? Somebody asked, how long does it take you to get back home after a game?
Yeah.
And when I ran tonight, I was home in about 2.5 minutes.
Whew.
And a usual watch, if I just stroll and I'm looking at my phone or I'm talking to Eric, getting ready for the show, I'm usually home in 4 to 5 minutes, but I was home at 2 minutes flat tonight. I was jotting her back, and Eric's like, you ready to go? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, okay. And then I was pumping the water in, and I'm glad we had our guest today.
Yes, it was awesome.
Yeah, and tomorrow night, Tommy D will be joining us from New York, who made that great point I mentioned during our interviews, Eric, how we got to take care of our own business tonight, the rest of this month, and in September. Tommy brought it to my attention. He goes, look, you're going to have all these teams playing each other. Let them fight it out. We look after our own business, and gradually we'll be right there. And right now, Eric, I think we're right there. We're above 500 by a couple of games, and we are 2 games out in the wild card. So
they just got to keep winning. That's what it's gonna come down to. Who's pitching tomorrow? Logan Webb, right?
Yeah, Logan Webb for the San Francisco Giants goes tomorrow, Eric, and for the Detroit Tigers here at the stroke of 12 midnight in the Bay Area. There is still no indication from the Tigers who will start that game. Giants enter play later today, 60 and 58. As I mentioned, they're 2 games up on the 500 mark. Logan Webb, 9-8, 342 ERA. That one is going to be a 105 start, Eric, with a 65-degree Saturday afternoon. And the wind's 10 clicks out to center field. That is the complete wrap on what we can expect tomorrow.
All right, there we go. And of course, tomorrow is the reunion of the 2014 World Series team. Mad Bum will be there. I'm not sure who else is going to be there. I think I saw a list out there. Here, hold on. I got the list. Let me take a look.
You got the list?
I think I got the list. Robert Doval sent
Eric's
it to me.
got the list.
I got the list.
Eric, you got the list?
I got the list.
He's got
Let me try
the
to
list.
find it.
You never know what you're going to learn, whether it's day-to-day activities with the San Francisco Giants, the take from other guys. Earlier in the week, we were talking about Major League Baseball spies in the war, which I thought was kind of a cool topic.
Holy crap. Here's the list.
Okay, here's the list, guys.
Ere Adrianza, Jeremy Atfeld, Larry Bayer, Brandon Belt.
How did Larry
Blanco.
Bear? Whoa! How did Larry Bear make the list?
Yeah, it's in alphabetical order. That's why.
All right.
Gregor Blanco, Gary Brown,
Nice.
Madison Bumgarner,
Yay.
Keith Champion. Who the hell's Keith Champion? Sean Dunston, Bobby Evans, Tim Flannery, Mark Gardner, Juan Gutierrez, Chris Heston, Brandon Hicks. Remember Brandon Hicks? Holy crap.
Yep.
Tim Hudson. All right, cool. Travis Ishikawa, Greg Johnson, George Contos, Javier Lopez, Gene Machi. Remember him?
Mhm.
Michael Morse, Mike Murphy,
Nice.
Joe Panic, Jake Peavy, Hunter Pence, Yusmero Petit, Juan Perez, who kicked the ball out there in left field, Buster Posey, Dave Rigetti, Sergio Romo, Brian Sabian is going to be here, Andrew Susak, Shane Turner, Taira Umiyatsu. Oh, that he was the bullpen catcher, right? Ryan Vogelsong and Ron Wotus. Again, subject to change.
Eric, I got to give you credit for bringing the list. But I felt you were, maybe the list didn't have to be quite as, you started with the Larry Bear in there. And did I hear a Keith Champion, the advanced scout?
Keith Champion, I don't even know who he is.
The San Francisco Giants advanced scout at that point in time. How did an advanced scout make the...
Hey, they won 3
guess he was
championships during that
pivotal.
period. Hey,
I guess he
man.
was pivotal.
Yeah, they won 3 championships in 5 years. He must have been doing something right. I'm not gonna disparage that.
Not just a scout, the advanced scout. So very good. I like when you do these reunions and a few years go by and the little fringe players are there. Eric, I love this.
Yeah, you remember you don't know who Gary Brown is, Mike? Come on. He was supposed to be the next big thing. You know, the Giants always have that.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be a highly touted prospect. And he kind of happened.
And you know what, Eric? I've given up with these comments. All right. We love the
no
guy.
Lincecum. No Lincecum.
Oh, not this. Where is it? I had a great where is it? Give me a second. I'll find it. Oh, it's this one. That's why I don't want the wild card this year. I don't play to lose anymore, Eric. We're in this to win it, right?
Yeah.
One day at a time. Let's make the wild card. A lot of Giants fans were talking about the more we lose, better the chance there'll be managerial changes and front office changes. I don't want to see the team lose.
Yeah. I just don't like Farhan, man. And I think there needs to be a change. I just hope, even if they do get into playoffs, I hope they move on from him. That's just me. But we'll see. I think the record speaks for itself about what Farhan is doing. Mm-hmm. And I think they just need to move on from him, whether they win, lose, or draw.
What am I getting you down here, man? You're a little ways up from me, but hey, I'm only a block away from the stadium. You come on down, we'll hook up, have some lunch, head over and watch a ball game, Eric.
Absolutely. Yep.
A nice weekend like this. Where the hell are you? Come on.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
I guess somebody's got to be back in master control.
Yeah, someone has to run the show, right?
But I'm running the streets of San Francisco. A Quinn Martin production.
It just sucks so bad because a 2-hour drive that can turn into a damn 2.5, 3-hour drive. It's man.
Oh, geez.
I'll get down there someday.
Did you hear the Krug show's back on KNBR?
Yeah, he's back on KNBR. Yep.
Yeah, I caught one of his shows recently, and it's funny. But he's back on. I saw one of his. He has a YouTube channel too, Larry Krueger. That I had found out he's a big 49er fan. I watched a recent rant. Commercial radio sucks. But join me next week on KNBR 680. It's amazing when somebody signs the check. How quickly you change your tune.
Hey, it is what it is, man.
Yeah,
it is.
Reporting live from Oracle Park. Maybe I'll try to report live and we'll get our crap together tomorrow, Eric.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's gonna be a nice day, though. Nice day for a ball game. Maybe we can. Good thing is we won tonight and didn't have the bats going. So may be a big day tomorrow, Eric.
And Ibrahim brought up a good point earlier, and I don't know if he's still in the chat. He talking about, the Giants really, they had a long flight from Washington. I guess they were running for the airplane so they could try to get out of there before the weather came in, and because they didn't want to get delayed. So I'm sure they were probably pretty tired. They had a long road trip, had a long flight, had to deal with the weather. So maybe that's why they're a little bit slow coming out of the gates today. Maybe. I don't know. But
well, the
hey,
good news is it's supposed to be sunny in the Bay Area. We're going to have some baseball tomorrow early afternoon. And that means that tomorrow night, Glenn and Eric, yours truly, and the guy I'm looking on the screen to my left, will be on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, tomorrow's on 8 o'clock. And
Our
Tommy will be able to
regularly
come on.
Scheduled broadcast time.
Is Tommy going to come on in the beginning of the show just so it's not so late for him back east? Or
Tommy will be joining us about 5-10 minutes. We'll do the score update from the ballpark, a little bit of talk about what happened with the Giants. Did the bats come alive? What the pitching was like? What we got out of a up and down Logan Webb. And then we'll jump right into our interview with, and I'm really looking forward to talking to Tom because there's so much. He'll talk a little bit about the Mets, and then he'll also talk about the Yankees. And there have been some changes there. So he always brings a great amount of education to the program, talking about baseball on the East Coast. So tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Eric, we will be recapping Giants with Logan Webb on the hill up against the Detroit Tigers. I can't wait. I'll be there, and I will be joining you at 8 p.m. sharp. So have a great day, Eric. I'll be checking in. Keep an eye on your texts. I like texting Eric when things are going really good. He hears from me. I'm texting. And then my wife says, you haven't texted Eric for a while. I'm like, we're losing. So, we'll see you tomorrow
that's
night,
good how
Eric.
it goes. All right, well, see you guys tomorrow night. Glenn, see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And then, watch for our show 8 o'clock in the morning for the morning edition.
Well, no morning edition. Monday to Friday. Tomorrow's Saturday, Eric.
Oh, what am I thinking? See?
What are you thinking, man? It's been a long week for you. I know.
It has been. It has been a long week.
Monday morning edition. I do want to, before we sign off, we got to sign off the next minute or so, but big shout out to our special guests who took time from a busy schedule to join us on the show tonight, Eric.
Absolutely. Kasey, Kazliner was able to join the show. Of course, our resident young guy, Carter, was also in there today too. Really appreciate you guys. Guys bring some good takes on the San Francisco Giants. Love hearing just the different ideas of what people have about the team. Ultimately, we're all want the same thing, want the Giants to win.
Yeah, Kasey and Carter bring that youth, that vibrant youth.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
The old guys like us. We love everybody in the chat, and if you ever want to come on and discuss,
just let us know, man. Raise your hand.
Come on in, and ask for the link. We'd love to have you on the show. It's all about our chat and all about the subscribers and the members who want to take part in the program. You are very important to us.
Yes, absolutely.
See you tomorrow night.
Yep, tomorrow night. And I may have an MHC tomorrow. We'll see. I'm debating. I may have an MHC tomorrow.
We're on early. We're on at 8. We're only going to be on for about an hour tomorrow night, so we'll give you plenty of time to get on there with Will B. Will, looking forward to the show if you get on board tomorrow night for MHC.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, Eric, that's it.
All right, let's get out of here, guys. See you tomorrow night. Woo!
See ya.
You've been watching Giant Sports Talk Live with Eric and Glenn, a Northern Lights Entertainment Broadcasting production.